Hello everyone, you're watching New World News. I'm Jamie Starr, and on this video I wanted to do a quick one about this article I found about the Star Wars movie and the controversy over the main lead actor. I figured I'd do this because it kind of correlates with my comic book video, because Star Wars was also bought out by Disney. So you see them doing the same thing where they are sort of inserting different politically correct characters into the mix. But I will say, unlike the Marvel Comics, where they're recasting characters as different genders or different ethnicities, in this they're at least bringing in new characters, which is along the lines of what Stan Lee said. You know, if you want a gay superhero, you want a black superhero, let's invent some new characters. Let's make new stories. Let's be creative. Instead of these kind of just cheap, we made the color of Captain America black now, so that should appease you. No, that's cheap and it's patronizing. So Star Wars, kudos to them for actually, bringing the story in a different direction because they want to bring in these other characters. Now, with it being Disney and big business, I did hear a lot of the movie seems like a lot of kind of product placement for the holiday season and toys. This was the only Star Wars movie to not open up in the spring. All the other ones have opened up in the spring, but we saw this one came right before Christmas. So I think there was a lot of product marketing, and that probably dictated what they were doing more so than political correctness or anything like that. But one of the things I challenge people on a lot, now I'll be the first to say, yes, there's still racism. People are racist. As long as we divide each other into tribes and these different groups and everything like that, people identify that. And as long as people receive benefits or have things taken away from them because of these factors we cannot change, although now you have transracialism, transgenderism. But as long as people can't change these things, they're going to feel some sort of resentment. It's as simple as for every action, there's an equal but opposite reaction. The one thing I do take issue with is these two terms of institutionalized racism and systematic racism, because that I don't see. And I understood, you had slavery that was put into law by government. It wasn't just the masses and mobs of white folk, as people would like to think. There were laws behind it. Segregation was the same way. Jim Crow was the same way. We had laws that the system and the institutions were upholding, keeping people in these certain positions. And since these laws have gone away, we've seen people use what, some could say is the white man's infrastructure of the media or politics, business. We've seen black people excel in these categories, whether it be Oprah, Obama, Dr. Ben Carson being a brain surgeon. The doors are open, and a lot of it seems to be whether you choose to walk through it or not. So I want to go through some of the controversy because I feel like this really was undeserved. I understand where these people are coming from, and some of the tweets seem like they're mocking things like, in Missouri, when the students wanted their safe space, the first thing they did was kick out all the white kids and segregate themselves. And this is where it seems like this is heading to, which is, it's so crazy because it seems like everything that was fought for and everything people claim they're still doing in the same vein of, now they're going the complete opposite direction. Like they fought the good fight, and now, because there's no fight left, now it just ends up ridiculous. It's like a snake eating itself. So, to the article, Star Wars leading actor shuts down racist fans in the most brutal way possible. And I will say, it was very well done in the way he did this. So, we have a couple tweets from different people. Brianna Wu, at Teen Load. Boycott Star Wars. Blacks have taken it all from us. Our belongings, our lives, and now our films. Ban black actors invading white spaces. I don't know what this guy thinks black people are taking from him. I mean, again, this just seems to be hateful rhetoric. Negromancer. Any of you guys want your daughters breeding with black stormtroopers? No, didn't think so. Boycott Star Wars. Now, Negromancer, like, with a name like that, it obviously seems like it's a troll. Then it adds in, British actor John Boyega is of Nigerian descent, and the Star Wars is the newest installment of the blockbuster franchise. While a few black actors have played supporting roles, he is the first to be cast as one of the leads. let's see, boycott Star Wars. If white people aren't wanted in Star Wars, then our money must not be wanted either. I mean, again, craziness. There were plenty of white actors in it. It was just one role. Boycott Star Wars because white children deserve wholesome movies, not more PC, anti-white diversity crap. I don't think there was really anything anti-white in the movie. The other lead role was a white female, and I've watched bits and pieces of the movie, not the whole thing yet, but I mean, she's pretty badass, so you can tell these people are just kind of trying to get aroused and everything like that. I mean, each of them do have about 150 to 200 retweets or favorite. This one has 17 or 7. This one has 20 or 28. So as far as these first two, I would even bet to say that more people probably saw these tweets and were aware of these people's opinions from this article than their actual voice on Twitter. In a recent Times article, Boyega responded to the hate in the best way possible. I'm grounded in who I am. I'm a confident black man, Boyega said. A confident Nigerian black chocolate man. I'm proud of my heritage, and no man can take that away from me. I wasn't raised to fear people with a difference of opinion. They are merely victims of a disease in their mind. And he is completely right about this. And this is my point when I had spoke about Mizzou in the video Top 2015 Social Justice Fails. The person who put the poop swastika on the wall has a disease in their mind. They are mentally sick. And the problem is, though, is that you are having the response of this protesting it and getting upset and having it elicit some sort of fear and confrontational, energy, rather than going to this person and just either looking at them like they're a victim of a disease in their mind, or even trying to help them. And I mean, I feel this way about anyone who just writes off and says, oh, well, the problem is Jews, the problem is whites, the problem is blacks, like, they are sick people, and we need to help them, and we need to try to help them feel more connected somehow to those people that they hate. I mean, there's nothing wrong with people being different, and there's obviously some way that they've felt subjugated because of that difference. So again, kudos to John Boyega. I think he handled this in the best way possible, and it highlights that sometimes when people have these over-the-top extreme reactions to someone who's a victim of a sort of mental illness, that we're becoming mentally ill in a sense of ourselves. We're giving over to paranoia and all these other feelings that really have no place when you look at, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words may never hurt me. It's just another person's opinion. And this is why I take issue with the systematic and institutional thing, because it sort of overinflates it. It makes it more, I mean, if I tell people institutional racism, yeah, the KKK, they're still around, but what are they doing? They're lobbying for welfare and everything like that. They support the Democrats and the Democrats' policies. So, but they're not out lynching people like crazy. They're not doing anything in mass like that. So I don't see the institutional side of it. And if it is there, what people tend to bring up as far as what they seem to imagine it to be, seems to be this grand be-all, end-all conspiracy where white people are all acting in concert to keep black people down, and they don't even have to communicate it. Apparently they don't even know they're doing it. I guess I wouldn't, because I can't seem to see it or know how it happens. But I hear about these funny situations where friends of mine will be telling black friends who subscribe to this ideology that there's this big oppressive system, and they'll tell them about how they got, arrested and pulled over with drugs and situations like this. I've had it where I told people about when I got arrested for just not having my ID. And I said simply, if I was black, I would assume I got arrested because I was black, because of this narrative that's pushed. But I was arrested because it was a warrant sweep. I didn't have my ID. They needed to check out who I was, make sure I didn't have any warrants. But the person's response, they didn't even believe it happened. they couldn't even, no, that didn't happen, you're lying. Like, they're telling me that I didn't have my freedom taken from me for a couple hours and couldn't choose where to go, when I want to eat, whatever. And they're just looking at me and saying, because that doesn't fit the narrative that I believe and that I find my identity within, it isn't even, fuck you, you're lying. And it's crazy, because it's something that you would think people would come together on and be like, oh my god, the police can do this to you? Like, they can just, oh, you can't identify yourself, papers please. We're in Nazi Germany, and we can't come together over this. Instead, we just look at people and say, that doesn't fit my narrative, so I can't even, no, I don't even believe you. So, back to Star Wars. A disease that clearly completely failed to gain any traction, as Boyega notes. The pre-sale tickets have gone through the roof. Their agenda has failed miserably. See, I don't even think it's an agenda. I think it's trolls. I think it's, kids in their parents' basement just looking to stir the pot. It's not, again, it wasn't a top institution or anything. As far as the institutions go, this guy has them all on his side, and I'll get into that more in a minute. Let's just finish this up. The movie has made an astounding $100 million in pre-sale tickets alone, shattering the previous records. I don't get it, Boyega continued. You got guys, every single alien in this movie imaginable to man, with tentacles, 5 eyes, aliens that if they existed would have any... we definitely have any issue, yet you want to do is fixate on another human being's color. You need to go back to school and unlearn whatever you have learned. I think Yoda said that, or Obi-Wan. So you can see he's being sort of witty and lighthearted about all of it, but he's very true. These things are learned, and they're learned in the schools, because the government and the school systems is where you first are told to identify as Caucasian, identify as African American, Native American, Latino, whatever. And they use these bulk descriptions where all the white people that are Italian, Irish, English, Scottish, German, I'm part Native American, but you lump them all into one category. Then you have African Americans, which I assume you also have people of Caribbean descent and such identifying as African Americans, because that's the black category. Hispanics, so on, Brazilian, Argentinian, and anything from South American falls under that category. We're lumped into them by the schools and the way they want to staticize everything, and then you're taught this weird history in this way. And it seems where, from what I get from the public, their knowledge of history goes like this. Egypt, pyramids, pilgrims, slavery, civil rights, now. And they don't know shit about anything in between the shit. And they'll try to use these things to even rationalize other things. Like, I saw a video of Jesse Ventura trying to rationalize illegal immigration off of the Pilgrims. And it's like, okay, the Pilgrims were settlers. We've since had 300 some odd years where we now have this system in place where people get citizenship and everything like that. And you're just trying to say, oh, well, there shouldn't be any borders. We should just let people come in whenever, because the first people who came here did it. And whatever laws we've decided on, fuck them. That's the most undemocratic idea, and it just goes to this sort of, I don't know, two wrongs make a right, basically. So, I wanted to add that in, because I was very surprised about that. Now, the last remark. In a world still plagued by institutionalized racism, it's important to celebrate the victories. Boycott Star Wars failed miserably. The movie is poised to eviscerate box office records, and Boyega has a career that has catapulted him into the stars. The force is strong with this one, indeed. And this is where it troubles me, because this person is so stupid that they don't realize that all the institutions are on his side, and that's why it failed. And this is the other thing that boggles my mind, where I try to tell people, if there was really this giant white supremacist institutionalized racism seeding through every aspect of America, it's fucking incompetent. Like, it isn't obviously isn't holding black people down. They're doing quite well. I mean, again, we may not know about all of them, maybe, you know, but you still see it. I mean, they're dominating athletics. They've always dominated music. They're doing quite well in the entertainment industry now. I think there are issues, you know, as far as how they're portrayed in certain movies, but even that's changing as you're having more and more of them take the executive positions rather than just acting and everything. So this guy has all the institutions on his side. He has Disney on his side. He has the media on his side. The Star Wars, which is a giant franchise in and of itself. And there's no one that's again, you see these people, they don't represent any institution. There's not an institution of bitch-ass teenagers that are on the computer sitting in their mom's basements. I don't know what the institution they imagine these people representing is, but the only thing I can assume is they represent this unofficial institution of white people, and for whatever reason it's assumed that they're an institution when they're a race, and these people they add in these words like systematic racism, institutionalized racism, because they think it makes them sound intelligent, but it just really makes them seem like they know nothing. Because even yesterday I got into a debate with someone over issues of crime in America and everything, and I tried to tell everyone, you know, the overall crime has gone way down. Robbery, murder, rape, everything is going down. We're in really decent shape as far as society really goes and everything. And because of the media, and because for the first time in history we're all interconnected in such a way, and misery loves company, we are drenched and drowning in bad news, up to the second bad news. And so people are just being, you know, overloaded with all this stuff they never really knew about before, and even though it's less than before, you're hearing more of it. So I was bringing this all up and saying, you know, we still have quite a high standard of living. The average poor person in this country has air conditioning, cars, cell phones, TVs, you know, all of these luxury items. So how poor are they really? And then you just have people, like, the circular logic in all of it. Like, again, how I brought up the thing with the pilgrims. I hear people on the left say, you know, the pilgrims are bad, Thanksgiving, they raped, killed, and pillaged everyone, this, and that. And then you'll say, okay, you know, I'm against this mass flux of illegal immigration. And they'll go and say, well, the pilgrims. And it's like, okay, you were the same person just telling me that the pilgrims showed up and just fucked shit up and raped and pillaged, and I'm not even the one claiming that, you know, all these people in mass immigration want to do this. The president of the Czech Republic just said it was an invasion the other day, so there are some political leaders coming out and saying this, but it doesn't help the leftist argument that they're going to compare it to the same person they're pointing to as a bad guy. It's again, two wrongs make right. Makes no sense. Lots of circular logic in all of this. So that's what I have to say about the Star Wars thing. Again, kudos to Disney on this one though. Making a new storyline. If you just came back out and was like, oh, you know, this is Anakin, Luke, or whatever, but now it's played by this black actor, that would seem a little silly. But much rather start a new character, new role, take it in a new direction. That's the way to go. So, this has been New World News. Jamie Starr. Hope you enjoyed.